are watching the FA Cup Community Shield Countdown Live. I'm Kay Murray. He is Shaka Hislop. We'll also be joined in the show outside of Wembley from Alexis Nunes and Don Hutchison as well. And we have some special guests coming up throughout the show, so look out for that. Where can you watch us? Well, you can stream us on the ESPN app, on ESPN's Twitter page, and also over on YouTube with the ESPN FC page and its Facebook page as well. Now, the FA have confirmed that before today's game, players will be taking a knee in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's been a pivotal week here in the USA. We have seen pro athletes across numerous sports leagues not playing as a form of protest following the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Shaka, you are the honorary president of Show Racism the Red Card, which is an anti-racist educational charity formed in England. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, Kay, to put this in perspective, we're 2.5 years out from Laura Ingraham telling LeBron James to just shut up and dribble. That's what we as athletes, particularly athletes of colour, have done for generations without seeing any real change in our communities. While the people of colour, black and brown skins, continue to be weaponized against us. What we've done in response, and what LeBron so well articulated, is that we'll continue to dribble, but we won't shut up. We'll kneel, we'll march, we'll protest, we'll wear Breonna Taylor's names on our backs, we'll wear Black Lives Matter on our arms, but we will not shut up. And still, as we saw this week, we continue to feel as though our communities are under threat at the hands of law enforcement. And you saw that again this week in Kenosha. And what you're now seeing is, after we've continued to dribble but refused to shut up, what you're now seeing from these athletes and these teams is the next step of where we are prepared to take our dissatisfaction in our communities. What we've seen is just a hint of what may be to come. That if we have to, we will also stop dribbling. If that is going to be the spark that brings about the change in our communities. We continue to tell our stories. We continue to have the uncomfortable conversations. And until we have reason to believe or recognize significant change, where a black 12-year-old kid in Tamir Rice can stand at a playground playing with a toy gun and be shot by police, not be perceived to be as big a threat as a 17-year-old walking with an assault rifle. Where a 17-year-old black kid in Trayvon Martin, with a bag of Skittles in his hand, can be hunted, yet a 17-year-old with a weapon of war can be protected. That speaks to our dissatisfaction and our frustration at the hands of police and law enforcement. That needs to be addressed, and addressed effectively. Because as we've seen with the George Floyd murder marches and the support for Black Lives Matter, is that this isn't just about Kenosha. This isn't just about Minneapolis. This isn't just about US. This is a global movement and a global recognizing of the frustrations of the black communities here in the US and the world over. I've been speaking to Alexis all of this week on the back of everything that we've said. And she's been in the midst of what has happened both in March and now in England. I'd love to hear Alexis's own thoughts on what she's seeing in the streets of London, the streets of England, and throughout Europe.
Yeah, Shaka, I think that's the thing that we need to hammer for, that this is a global thing. This is not just something that is a problem for the USA on a whole, because jaws dropped this week when they saw exactly what was going on in the United States. And I think it was a bittersweet week. And I say sweet in the sense that it has caused people to start to wonder what that next move will be, because I think some people know that these kind of protests have happened before, know that people have spoken up before, but not that much has clearly come of it. So maybe they thought that, you know, we would all just disappear and maybe things will get easier again. But it just shows, led by the likes of the NBA as well as the WNBA as well as MLS, MLB, NHL. We've seen it in tennis with Naomi Osaka. We have seen just how far people are willing to go when they are trying to fight against this racism that has plagued not just the United States, but the world. I mean, I say this so many times that I never experienced racism until I left Jamaica. I'm pretty sure it was the same for you growing up in Trinidad and Tobago. Yet I've probably could tell you how many times I've walked my dog's Latin in my neighborhood, and people have asked me if I'm running a dog walking service. They've asked me if I'm a nanny. Because what is a young black woman doing living in this quote-unquote affluent part of London? Because that's exactly how far they think you can go. And they don't know how hurtful these things are. They don't know how these scars stay with you, because you cannot out-achieve racism. That is what they're taught to think when they look at us like that. Which is why I think representation at the highest level is so necessary. We talk about less than 24 hours, we learned of the unfortunate news of the passing of Chadwick Boseman, who so beautifully brought to light King T'Challa and the Black Panther character. And so many years people have been crying for a superhero, for a character to be black and to be celebrated and lauded as some of the other ones as well. And he did that so perfectly. We saw how it touched the likes of so many other athletes, including Aubameyang, who we will see in action tonight. He constantly donned the Black Panther mask, and he constantly did the Wakanda Forever as well. And I'm pretty sure if he does score tonight, we will definitely see something as it. But we need that representation, and that's exactly what Chadwick Boseman showed. He did it so perfectly, and it feels like we have lost a hero, a black hero, in a time where the last thing that we need is to lose a black hero. But that's probably one of the reasons that it's hurt so much, and that's one of the reasons why the entire world has mobilized, because again, this is not an American thing. This is not something that we sit down and watch the USA suffer and say, well, sucks to be you, because it sucks for all of us. We have all gone through it, and I think now is the time to stand together, everyone, and continue this fight and show people that, guess what, we're only getting started.
Alexis and Shaka, thank you so much for sharing your stories and continuing the conversation as well. Let's look at the Arsenal lineup for today and who Mikel Arteta has chosen. It was a difficult one to predict going into this game with so many players coming and going, and obviously it's been so quickly with just one friendly in between that FA Cup win and today's game. But we're seeing youth here, and we are seeing Shaka, Emiliano Martinez in goal, and he has put in some very good performances towards the end of last season, that it shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
No, not a surprise to me at all. Listen, given the performances you'd seen from Martinez last season, I felt Bernd Leno had an issue on his hands in trying to get himself back into the starting lineup, and rightly so. He's continued in goal. I think he's got to play himself out of that position, and no real signs in doing that. But yes, this is a very young Arsenal team, including if you look at the bench they can call on. Again, youth seems to be the order of the day. I want to see how this squad equips themselves today against a team as accomplished as Liverpool, because they've got a lot to prove, and a lot will be expected of them this season, understandably.
Yeah, one thing I do know is that Don Hutchison is the head of the fan club of Maitland-Niles. But we're not going to ask him about that, Alexis. We are instead going to get the Liverpool team news from you guys.
Definitely indeed can. He may love him some Maitland-Niles, but he also loves him some Liverpool as well, as much as I try to kick it out of him. But he's an old man, so I'm not going to kick him too hard.
What?
But Don, what did you think of the Liverpool lineup? One name that we know is missing, but there were some doubts, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's almost like, how does Robbo survive without his main man, right?
It's incredible. It's a strong side, and I expected Jurgen Klopp to go strong, because I think this is a statement trophy. And Jurgen... so now he's racking up the trophies. I wouldn't expect the Liverpool side to come in that was sort of playing for minutes. I think he wants a statement win. He wants to start the season well. He wants to have the players playing with confidence when the season does kick off in a fortnight's time. So I think it's very strong. And the front three, you know, they looks as though they've had a fantastic pre-season. In fact, there's not many injuries coming out of Liverpool's camp. They've been training for quite a while. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I think they'll start strong. I think they're over massive favourites for the game because Arsenal are so far behind them. But this is a strong Liverpool side that we're going to see today.
And then you and I have stood here a lot recently, you know, for better or for worse, in sunshine and in rain today. And we have probably tried to pull up so many reasons why Arsenal should not win.
Yeah.
And yet they have won. They went all the way to win the FA Cup final, beating the likes of City and Chelsea when we really didn't give them a chance. Where can Arsenal hurt Liverpool tonight?
They'll do exactly what they've done against Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool. They'll be hard to beat. They'll play 3 across the back. And when they're out of possession, they'll turn that into 5. Granit Xhaka and El Neni will both sit in front of that back 3 as well. So they're making numbers behind the ball, which proves very difficult to then break down. And then they've got the young legs. You know, we talked about Nketiah and we talked about Maitland-Niles and Saka. And then you've got Aubameyang up front. So whenever the turnover of possession happens, look out for the Arsenal players to be running in behind that Liverpool back line, especially if the 2 fullbacks are extremely high. So tactically, I would imagine Mikel Arteta's been working on lots of defensive shape without the ball. Then as soon as they get the ball, look for a long ball, especially down the left-hand side, where Aubameyang likes to sort of make those arcing runs. And that's where Liverpool could be hurt. We've seen it in the games against Chelsea when we didn't give them a prayer. We saw it in the game against Man City in the semi-final. I thought City would run out 3 or 4 comfortably. We saw it in the Liverpool game when Liverpool actually in the league battered Arsenal, but Arsenal beat them 2-1. So it's going to be quite bog standard for Arsenal fans, and it's something they've got to get used to.
All right, well, we mentioned Andy Robertson earlier on and how he would fare without Trent Alexander-Arnold, his right-hand man. But if it's one thing you don't know about Robbo, or you need to know about Robbo, is that he's just as fun off the pitch as he is on it. Here he is having some fun with Katie Nolan.
Oh, for God's sake. Man.
If you're ready, your quiz begins now. Liverpool have won the English League title 19 times, but which team has won the NBA title the most in America?
I don't know my NBA. I need Big Virgil in next to me, I think, for this one. LA Lakers, maybe?
No. Think of a city that might be sort of related to your team. Starts with a
Boston.
B. Yeah, that's it. The
Yeah.
Boston Celtics. Celtic, you know, you should. All right.
Yeah, I should have guessed that actually.
That's all right. You'll do better on the next one. Name an American that has played for Liverpool.
There was a goalkeeper that played for Liverpool. Brad Friedel?
Yes!
Yes, there we go. Now we're warm.
I got nervous. It's all right. It's preseason. We're getting back into it.
We're getting going.
There are 5 locations named in the song LA, LA, LA. What are they?
Paris, Turkey, London. Does Anfield Road count as one?
Yeah, I'll give you that instead of London because London's not in there.
Liverpool?
Yeah. Zoom out.
Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it. But for a bonus point, what Italian disco song is LA, LA, LA based on?
No, there's no way I get that.
L'estate sta finendo, as we all know.
Did you know that before you got given the answer?
Yeah, what? I didn't have the answer. I only have the questions here. How dare you? All right, you were born on March 11th, 1994. It's crazy. What was the #1 song when you were born? I mean, everybody knows.
Oh, man. Who would have been even about by then?
You know, like divas. Pop divas. Her name starts with an M.
An M? Madonna?
No. Oh, that's not a bad guess, but no.
Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
What song?
It's called Without You. I don't know if I even know that song. But you know what? You were the #1 hit that year.
Boom. Thank you.
Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, and Roberto Firmino are all 28 years old. But who is technically the oldest of the 3?
Oh, right. I need to go back to us singing happy birthday to them. I'm going to go Mo. Maybe.
What if you went with somebody else?
Sadio.
Yes.
Sadio's early, isn't he?
Sadio's April. I want to give you one that you just get right away. Here we go. Can you spell Gini Wijnaldum?
Gini.
Nice.
Wijnaldum.
Nailed it. Amazing.
Yeah.
See, that's like peak season form. That's what I'm looking for from you.
Yeah, that was good, that one.
Which of the following is not an anagram for Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Oh, for God's sake.
Adoran extend taller, annexed Roland Rattler, or external Ronaldo trend?
I mean, come on.
I mean, you should. It's so easy.
I'm going to go B.
The answer is C. And I can't believe you didn't get that. We'll end on an easy one. How many Premier League goals will Leo Messi score next season?
Hopefully none, because he stays at Barcelona, to be honest with you. If he does, well, I'm sure they'll smash the record, no doubt.
No, he won't. He's going to stay far, far away because he's very, very good.
Great stuff there from Katie and Andy. The Italian disco song is actually called L'estate sta finendo. The
Stop
summer
showing
is
off.
ending.
Stop showing off.
I've got the Italian in line. Don't get that one in, it'll tell me off. Anyway, that's the LA song. But the summer is ending, and the Community Shield usually does mean that the summer is ending and we are ready for the new season. But we just saw Andy Robertson there. We were talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. And Shaka, you're loath to call them fullbacks, really, because surely they're wingers.
I know. I mean, they are so good. I think the big difference with those two, Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, is that Liverpool typically plays a flat back four. Nowadays, when you talk about wing backs, you talk about three centre backs, and they're allowed to maraud up and down. But between those two, they are so good at getting forward and at the same time with their defensive duties, especially Andy Robertson. The other thing I think they do better than most is their deliveries from wide areas, second to none, regardless of position.
Don, do you remember growing up that they used to say nobody wants to be a fullback, you're made to be a fullback? That's not the case now with players like this. Surely you've got kids that actually want to play this position because of these two. Maybe we don't have
Don's gone for an overlap. Don's going for an
Was that
overlap
one for
and can't make his way back.
Sorry, was that one for Mikel? Sorry, it's pouring down a rain. It's diagonal rain here. I got the question. I was listening to the question. The only two that comes to mind is maybe if you want to try and look at a pair across Europe, is maybe Alphonso Davies and Joshua Kimmich. Apart from that, no one comes close to Andy Robertson and Trent because of what they do, how many numbers they're producing, the style of football that they produce, the amount of yards they cover up and down. So if you're a Bayern fan, you can lean towards your two, and it's a fair argument, and they come into the conversation. But I think you do very well to pick a better pair than Andy Robertson and Trent.
Well, let's talk about a player that could be Liverpool bound. We keep hearing about him in the transfer rumours. The player is Thiago Alcantara. And Alexis, I've heard that Wayne Rooney has had quite the hot take this week on this player.
Oh, goodness me, Kay. His name has been plastered all over the place for some of the comments he said recently, and everyone's trying to figure out exactly just what he meant. But Don, I suppose you can try to make sense of them, because you know what? I kind of see what he's trying to say.
You see what he's trying to say.
So here's basically what he said. We know that Thiago is supposed to be Liverpool bound, and he thinks that Thiago to Liverpool would be a bigger signing than Messi to Manchester City. I think he means that Thiago would be a better fit to the DNA of Liverpool. What do you think?
There's a compliment in there somewhere from Wayne, and I think what he's trying to say is, because it's a big statement, by the way, I think he's trying to say if Liverpool get Thiago, because he is so good, that is season over. But we've still got to remember, we're talking about Lionel Messi, one of the greatest footballers of all time. Superhuman. And I've heard people say, well, he doesn't press, so he won't suit Guardiola's Man City. If you bring Lionel Messi into your 11, you change your shape, you change your philosophy, you get younger players around him. And for a couple of seasons, you build a team around him because he's the best in the world. And all of a sudden, because he's come up for sale, which pulls on the heartstrings, by the way, because We all want to see him play and he's trade in the Premier League because he's a sensation and he's the best that's ever played the game. But at the same time, it's just a bad... It leaves a bad feeling when he's going to leave Barcelona, because that's why we've been used to watching him for 2 decades. I understand what Wayne's trying to say, but I think Wayne is off the mark on that one. You can't say that about Messi. You just can't. It's too good.
Oh, Don's kicking it off. He's been waiting to kick off about that all morning. But anyways, many people, of course, in the next coming season, Don included, are going to expect much of the same from Liverpool to carry on winning. But everyone's kind of wondering exactly what to expect from Arsenal, where here's Julian Laurens and our very own Robbo, Stuart Robson, talking about what to expect from the Gunners this season.
Robbo is the community shield between Liverpool and Arsenal at Wembley. It's live on ESPN+. Arsenal finished the season very strongly last year with winning the FA Cup. However, it was a disappointing season. This could be crucial to start well this 2021 season.
Yeah, because you want to keep that momentum going. I mean, it was only a few weeks ago that they did win the FA Cup. And what you're looking for from the Community Shield is to give you that momentum going into the season. Yes, it's 2 weeks away, the season, but you've got new players coming in. How are they going to gel with the rest? You know, looking at the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, we're looking at Willian. You know, where will he actually play? That's a key thing. People think he's going to play out wide. I think he might play in the number 10 role at times, Willian. You're looking to see whether they have got a game plan, you know, because that's a key thing when I'm looking at a coach and a team. Have they got a distinctive game plan that they're going to play in, week out? That's why they get their consistency. Are certain players going to link up well with each other, particularly the new players? You know, are they going to play with a back three? Are they going to play with a back four? So if Arsenal play well in this game, I certainly think it makes them a much better side come the first week of the season.
Arteta took over in what was quite a difficult context in December. He did some really positive things. The way they play, the structure is far more disciplined, more structured team with more patterns of play than maybe we've seen before. Now that he's had a full, I was going to say full pre-season. It's not really, but like you know, a pre-season. He will have his first full season in charge. You expect him to build on what we've seen of positive last year, right? Especially with those new players that you mentioned.
Yeah, Arsenal are going to be more athletic under Arteta. That's what he's looking for, more athleticism in the side. He's looking for better discipline. That's why he's got rid of Guendouzi, because you know, the other player that will always be a problem with discipline will be Xhaka. It'd be interesting to see how he develops him. And as you just mentioned, there's more game understanding now. There's patterns of play developing all around the field, understanding between certain players. And that's what he's got to get in this Community Shield and take it on into the season and all the way through right to the end of the season. And if he does that, Arsenal could end up maybe just squeezing the top four.
They've fallen off quite far from the top four now. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, City, even United and Chelsea, they still feels okay. It will need a hell of a season for them to go back this year into the top four. But that has to be the objective, right?
Absolutely. Aubameyang, you know, is a key player for them. And 2 new centre halves. If they can form a good understanding, you know, there's no limit to what they can do. I still think there's struggle slightly in midfield with Ceballos and Xhaka. If they're the only 2 midfield players that he really wants to use, they need more. I would say athleticism and better defensive qualities in there. But overall, I think we're going to see a better Arsenal this year.
Get a good look at Arsenal in this game today, a game that you can watch over on ESPN Plus at 11:30 Eastern. It is FA Cup winners Arsenal against Premier League winners Liverpool. Now, we heard a hot take from Wayne Rooney there. We have a game now called Buy or Sell, and it's some unpopular opinions, I would say semi-outlandish statements that we're going to put to the guys, and then you can maybe back them up or dispute them. But I'm going to start with you, Shaka. Despite all the money that Chelsea have spent and the transfers that they're bringing in and looking like continuing to bring in, they still won't challenge Liverpool or Man City for the title this season.
They won't challenge Liverpool or Man City. I think they close the gap. But given the gap that we saw at the end of last season, that doesn't mean to suggest a challenge. Maybe that challenge comes in the next 2 or 3 seasons, just not this one.
OK, Alexis, I know that Don today has been chewing up hot takes and spitting them out. So what have you got for him?
Listen to me. This man loves a row. He loves a row. He's waiting to get at me.
You bring it out of me.
All right, I know. That's what I aim to do anyway. I've heard that before. Many men tell me I'm annoying. But anyways, let's get to this hot take. Liverpool won't defend their Premier League title.
What?
Are you buying it or selling that?
Selling that. I'm stunned. That
Surely City are favourites.
Why?
Because they're
Tell me
City.
why.
If they bring in Lionel Messi.
But they might not bring Lionel Messi
And their
in.
squad is a lot deeper than
How about their
Liverpool right now.
defenders? They're still the same defenders, apart from Nathan Ake, as they had last season. So how the bookies have got them favourites, I'll never know.
They say
Sell
lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice.
Sell it. It's not happening. Liverpool are favourites.
All right, let me go to the next one because this one's a juicy one and I had to keep it for last. Lionel Messi won't cut it in the Premier League.
Oh, my days.
Here we go. Let's hear the Messi
What
fan club. Come
a
on.
load of tosh.
Yep.
How can the best player the world has ever seen not do it in the Premier League? For what reasons? He's been getting booted.
He's not used to it. He's been in his comfy house of Barcelona for ages.
Booted in La Liga for 10 years. He gets up off the floor, he scores 50 goals a season.
He's 33 now.
I don't care.
He's only been used... I mean, for fair play, we'd expect him to do well, but to literally hit the ground running and be the Lionel Messi that...
Yes.
Really?
I mean, what constitutes him not having a good season? He ain't going to get 50 goals. So if he
well,
gets...
that's not a good season.
Oh,
because
there
if
you
you're
go.
Lionel
So that's
Messi,
the standards.
If I don't see 50 goals, then I don't know.
What if you see 40?
Now you've set the bar at 50, so I'm expecting 50 goals from Lionel Messi.
He will cruise it in the Premier
With the
League.
team Manchester City have
What,
too, if he does go
Aguero,
there.
Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden.
They would just serve things up on a platter, so maybe 55 goals now.
Well, so you're arguing with yourself now.
I'm just kidding. Lionel Messi could make it in Mars if he tried. Let's be honest. He is Lionel Messi. Well, anyways,
Definitely.
that's going to be it for Don and I because we're absolutely freezing and it is doing that light English rain thing.
I'm boiling. I'm hot.
Don's boiling, so we're going to go inside. There's no free food inside, but we've brought our own, so we're going to go and hopefully see a very interesting match between Arsenal and Liverpool because it's just the sign that the Premier League season is getting ready to start. So over to you, Kay. I understand you've got some exciting in the tunnel questions.
Oh, we absolutely have. Thanks so much, guys, for today. Yes, we've been asking you for your in-the-tunnel questions. You've been sending them in, so I'm going to put a few of them to Shaka now. Ahead of the game, which is coming up at 11:30 Eastern, it is Arsenal against Liverpool in the Community Shield. OK, Shaka, are you ready?
I am.
First up, Nick Kariuki says, which side's front three and goalkeeper would win a relay race?
That's a good question because there's a lot of pace in there. But I'm going to lean Arsenal. I think Martinez has got the beating of Alisson. And then Aubameyang on the anchor leg, he brings it home.
He does.
Yeah, so Arsenal win the relay at least.
Do you know what? I know he's not featuring today, but I didn't know if you knew that Nicolas Pepe actually started life as a goalkeeper until he was 14.
Really?
Yes.
Sounds a lot like me, Kay. I was a striker for...
Then you swap?
Yeah, well... The swap was forced on me. Let's just leave it at that.
It was a bit of the other way around for him, apparently. That everybody thought he could do it. He ended up playing that way. But he says now he knows how to approach a goalkeeper because he knows what they're thinking.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
OK, Kartik says, how much impact would a trophy at the start of a season have on a side?
I think it can have a lot of impact. Normally it doesn't. And this game kind of sums it up. I think if Liverpool win this or Liverpool lose, it doesn't matter to them. They take the Community Shield or they don't, given what we've seen from them over the last couple of seasons. But for Arsenal, this is huge. This can be Mikel Arteta building on some form of silverware in getting Arsenal back to where he believes they should be. They suffer a hiding at the hands of Liverpool here. I'm not sure how you breathe the self-confidence back into this team to see them compete even for a top four. You win, and now you're taking a step in the right direction. For Liverpool, European champions 2 years ago, defending Premier League champions, this doesn't matter as much.
Well, one thing we do know is when these two sides meet, Arsenal can usually give it a good go. And we've seen, obviously, Arsenal win the FA Cup last season. With all that in mind, what's your prediction for today?
Listen, Arsenal have been simply outstanding, what we've seen from them in this format. A one and done, as we show in the Cup. And Don mentioned it. Results against Manchester City, against Chelsea, coming from behind, where I didn't expect or predict that. So I think Arsenal can, without question, give Liverpool a run for their money. And as I mentioned, I think this is a bigger game for them. A lot of youth in this team, so I'm going to lean the experience of Liverpool all this year.
OK. Shaka going for Liverpool in this one. Make sure you tune in on ESPN Plus right now. It is FA Cup winners Arsenal against Premier League champions Liverpool. Is the FA Community Shield. You can watch it live now on ESPN Plus. Thank you so much for joining us.